I'll stand back here so you can see me. All right, so I messed up. I was supposed to have a video ready to go live at 6 o'clock since I was going to be on a trip. But I did not have it ready to go, and I didn't have a good way to edit it while I was on the trip. So, despite the fact I have the video and it's ready to be edited, I just didn't edit it. And it's not raw footage that's good enough to send out without any editing. So I'm just going to have to do the lesson I was going to do in that format live. Now, what I'm going to do to rectify the situation is when we get back, me and Trish are going to work out a way for me to immediately start working on the next video for the next time I'm gone, so that it will just already be up, and hopefully we'll just do that for all of them for the year, so that in very short order they will just all be ready to send off. That being said, what we're studying tonight is the Greek words for love. It's a great subject. There are many reasons I enjoy studying the Greek words for love. One, it's, I think, a really cool little linguistical analysis. The words for love, the Greek words for love, there's quite a few of them, about 8 in total. Although one of those words is a loan word from the Romans, so instead of being Greek, it's Latin in origin. We're not going to be talking about that one tonight. We're going to just be sticking to the Greek words that are found in the New Testament, and 2 Greek words for love whose concepts are found in the New Testament, although they themselves, as their letters, do not appear in the New Testament. And so our first word for tonight is the word agape. All right, this is the one everyone knows. Or they know of its existence. Can you guys read that? I think you can. So agape. Agape, and if I tried to write it in the proper Greek letters, I'm definitely going to forget one at some point of how exactly it looks, and then I'll look silly as I have to go through my phone trying to figure it out. All right, but we've got agape here. Now, agape is this word, and that it means a general sense of goodwill towards all men. Now, that's not all it is, but that's sort of the definition we're going to work around with tonight. So agape is this general sense of goodwill towards men. It's a selfless benevolence kind of deal. The easiest way to illustrate it is if you're, say, driving along down the road and you see someone whose wheel has come off or something or other, and they're in trouble, and they're having trouble fixing it, and you stop and you help them with whatever they need, whatever you're able to provide. That's agape. Even if it's just some kind of support, that is agape. It's benevolent goodwill that takes action. So it's an active form of love. It doesn't stand by the sides and just be like, oh, I wish you well. I hope you get better. I hope you arrive wherever you're going. It's the Good Samaritan. That's agape. And it's not just towards the stranger, though. If it was just towards the stranger, that would be our third word that we're going to look at tonight. But agape is more than just directed at the stranger. It can be directed at anyone. And so if you're going day to day and your spouse has some problem or other that needs addressing, that needs they need help with, and you stop and you take time out of your day to help them, that is agape. You are showing them agape. You are doing an action that is benevolent and contains goodwill towards them. Excuse me. So that's agape. Our second word for tonight is phileo. Phileo. Again, hopefully you guys can read that. Yeah, all right. Appears to appear pretty okay. And so phileo here represents brotherly love, is how most people describe it. But that makes it sound like familial love. But it's not familial love. That would be storge. And so storge over here is familial love, and storge is not our third word for this evening. In fact, it's one of the words that it's one of the bonus words we're going to talk about. But storge is the love between an aunt and nieces and nephews, an uncle and nieces and nephews, two siblings, one for another, the bond between a mother and child, the bond between father and child. That's all covered under storge. It's familial love. It's understood that you're going to have storge. And now storge is just your connection to family, and it should lead you to have agape and phileo for the people you have storge for, but storge is very much kind of the weakest form of love. Right? If it's not backed up by another form of love, then storge kind of goes off on its own and dies. So we're not talking about storge here, we're talking about phileo. And so when we say brotherly love, what we mean is friendship. Friendship. So we mean friendship when we talk about this brotherly love. And in fact, we mean a deep friendship. So we're not talking about acquaintance. This isn't an acquaintanceship that you have. This is a deep friendship brought about through this bond of brotherhood, which requires a third-party interest. And what I mean by that is that the two participants in phileo need to have a third party that interests both of them, that sort of joins them together. So this third party interest leads to a deep friendship, and this deep friendship leads to them having agape and phileo for one another. And so phileo allows them to go beyond just base kindness. Now they're actually interested in how each other's life is going. And the way I like to describe it is, okay, so you can have phileo with anybody over anything. If I have a fishing buddy, and this fishing buddy and I begin to sort of share a deep conversation about our interest in fishing, and then this conversation about an interest in fishing leads to a deep friendship where we're now caring about each other, we've experienced phileo over fishing. So it's not that deep. It doesn't need to be anything complicated to act as the third party interest. It's just the third party interest leads to this deep friendship, which leads to phileo and agape for one another. Now, what's interesting is that the Bible's solution for a third party interest that everyone is going to share in the church is Jesus. Jesus Christ acts as our third-party interest. He's our fishing, so to speak. But we can bond over our mutual love for Christ, and because of our mutual love for Christ, acting as our third-party interest, to give us the ability to have a deep friendship with one another in which we're sort of pouring out our heart and souls to each other, then we experience Christian phileo. That's the plan. And what's interesting is that there are times in which the New Testament treats these words interchangeably. Agape and phileo, they're one and the same, in especially between members of the church. And so, and proof positive of this, you can turn to John chapter 21. John chapter 21, you have Jesus asking Peter, Peter, do you love me? Peter, do you love me? Peter, do you love me? And Peter answers, yes, you know that I love you. Of course, yes, I love you. Yes, you know that I love you. You know all things. Excuse me. So, what was happening there in the Greek, and yes, I understand that this conversation likely happened in Aramaic, not in Greek, but it's recorded for us in Greek, and so the word choices do matter. What Jesus says is, Peter, do you agape me? And Peter answers, Lord, you know I phileo you. Peter, do you agape me? Lord, you know I phileo you. Peter, do you phileo me? Lord, you know all things, you know I phileo you. That's what's happening in that conversation in the Greek. And it's fascinating because it means that to have an active care for someone, especially in the church, should be indistinguishable from having a deep brotherly love with them, with having that deep friendship, with actually caring about the person. Okay. Then our third Greek word that appears is xenia. Xenia. But it's not just xenia, it's phileo. Xenia. And obviously these are all happening in different forms throughout too. So there's philia, or philia, but I'm getting sidetracked. All right, so we got phileoxenia, and this is brotherly love of the stranger. Xenia or xenos, whichever one you want to say. This is the stranger. This is brotherly love, and it's phileoxenia. And we often translate this one hospitality, but it is a Greek word for love, and it should not be understated. It is just as important as these other two. It's just not commented on quite as much. Agape is in like the high 100s, low 200s, somewhere in there. And phileo is mentioned at least 73 times. And this one is coming in, dragging up the rear in like 4 times, 5 times or something like that. But it's no less important. Every time hospitality is talked about, it's talked about positively. Now, in the world of the Greeks, there's no greater sin than being inhospitable. There's no greater sin for a mortal to have than to be inhospitable and unkind towards people that you don't know. Now, in the Christian world, it's a sin to be unkind to the stranger and all that, but it's not like the greatest of sins. It is a bad sin. It's a terrible sin. It's actually the sin that got Sodom and Gomorrah in trouble. It is just how inhospitable that they were. But This phileoxenia, this is a deep friendship of the stranger. And so it's taking someone who you do not know and treating them like your closest of friends. It's opening up the house for someone you don't know, someone you've met off the street, bringing them home and making them dinner. It's providing a bed for the night for somebody who's just wandering in off the street and needs a place to sleep. It's treating everyone you meet as if they're your closest of friends. That's phileoxenia, and Christians are to have that. And so it's all very interesting. I mentioned that storge is one of our bonus words, and it does have, it's not found in the New Testament, but you can certainly find elements of storge in the New Testament. Husbands are not, or fathers are not to provoke their children to wrath. That's storge. Don't just berate your children and make them hate you. Storge is also found in children, honor your father and your mother. That's storge. It's an understanding that you need to have the best interest of your parents in mind simply because they brought you into existence. And then the other one is eros. Now, eros, yes, that's where we get the word erotic. It is the sexual love. It's the love between two lovers. Now, you might say, well, where is that found in the New Testament in concept? The answer is, well, because it's perfectly acceptable for that kind of love to exist between husband and wife. In fact, not only is it perfectly acceptable, it's expected that that kind of love should exist between husband and wife. Now, this isn't really super deeply explored in the New Testament. You can turn to Song of Solomon if you want to explore that concept a bit deeper. Although Paul has a little bit to say when he says, do not hurt what is undefiled before God, and don't stop. Don't stop doing it unless by agreement and for the reason of prayer and fasting. Don't deprive each other of that very important part of the marital relationship. And so we have all these Greek words, but there is one concept that binds them all together. And this is why I love the fact that in the English language we have one word to describe all of this. Because, yes, sometimes we lack the ability to describe all of these things because we don't really think about them, and we just sort of call it all love. But that's the beauty, is the English language recognizes that there's a similarity, a through line between all of these, which is selflessness. The through line is putting another person's needs above your own. Whether that's agape, maybe you're busy, maybe you've got a place somewhere to be, maybe you've got things to do, but you take the time out of your day to do something nice for someone else. To just do it, not expecting any reward. It's that selfless benevolence. Phileo, right? You're putting the need of your good friend above your own, to take the time out of your day to ask them how they're doing, to give them advice, to stick up for them and to look out for them for whatever reason. Phileoxenia, hospitality, selflessness, it's not always easy to put someone up for the night. It's not always easy to give someone a good meal. It's not always easy to look out for them in the way that that hospitality demands that you do, but you need to put their needs above your own. Storge, that familial relationship, it's all about selflessness, right? The child needs to learn and grow into putting the needs of others above themselves, and you do that by watching how their parents treat them and treat others. And so storge is where selflessness is learned for everywhere else. So it may be the weakest of the loves, but it's the first. It's the first type of love. And so it's the most easy to understand. Eros, a proper lover puts the needs of their partner above their own in whatever context and for whatever reason, and that makes it genuine love. And so if it can't be selfless, if it's purely emotional and it can't be selfless, then it's not really love. It's something else. It's some corrupted version of love, such as lust or something. All right. Well, that's all the time we've got for tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, and we'll see you guys next week.